Hello everybody, I'm Tiago with Attack on Tiago, and for today's video, I have a very special video for you guys. It is the next subscriber special where I talk about my favorite anime and manga main characters. But I am not alone today. Joined with me today are three people for this video that will be contributing into the discussions. First, we have Didi.
What's up?
We also have Psycho.
Hello.
And last but not least, we have YK.
Hi.
So we'll be talking about my favorite characters, main characters in anime and manga. The spoilers will be kept to a minimum, unless it's pretty minor, then we'll be talking about it. And keep in mind, this is also my list, so even though there may be some characters that I haven't seen or some characters I may not like, they're not going to be included in this video or on my list. It's just my personal preference, my favorite characters that we'll be going through. But before we start, I do have some honorable mentions that I just want to mention real quick, and then we can get into the list. So some honorable mentions. We have Saitama from One Punch Man, Dr. Tenma from Monster, Hei from Darker Than Black, Rentaro Okabe from Steins Gate, Oriki from Hyoka, and then I do want to do a quick mention to Yu Otasaka from Charlotte, which is kind of mainstream anime, but I feel like no one really talks about him as a main character. So I kind of liked him, not gonna lie, as a main character. So I just wanted to throw his name out there, just so he can get some recognition. But anyways, we have 15 other characters we got to go through in this video, and this will be a long video, so why not get started? So at number 15, beating out all those honorable mentions and some other characters, we have Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins.
What the? What? Okay.
I have read some of the manga, and we'll keep manga spoilers also to a minimum, since typically I just like focusing on anime, except with one character that we'll mention later on. But yeah, Meliodas. The anime I like the first two seasons of, and obviously it took a detour later on with the later seasons. But I think as a shonen protagonist, I think he's actually pretty good. There's one aspect I actually really like about him is he's overpowered at first, and then he loses his powers. He has to go through training to get his powers back, which sort of is not a typical trope that you see with shonen protagonists. And then also another thing that I really liked about him is he's lived for like a millennia. He's been cursed so long without being able to die, and during that millennia, he has to keep watching his loved one die on and on and on and on again. And he just wants to regress back to the demon that he once was. And he has to live with all that knowledge through all these lives that he has to keep living, which is part of his sin. And I don't know, I think he gets a lot of crap now because he's from Seven Deadly Sins. And the anime in general just has been shit on lately because of it. But what are you guys' thoughts?
I think that the anime not ruined. The first few seasons were pretty good, but overall, I think the anime kind of just died down the like good aspects of it.
I like the second season.
Yeah, the second season was actually pretty good. Season 3 and onward was just terrible in my opinion.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that, but I also did read the manga. YK, what are your thoughts?
Cool. Especially like later on, but that's spoilers. So
He gets really cool later on, and I don't really want to say why he gets really cool later on.
especially like in the final chapters.
Yes.
True.
That also contributed to my liking towards it, but I don't want to spoil that because I don't know if it's caught up in the anime yet.
No, I don't even know what season it's on.
I have no idea. Yeah, I have no idea what season it's on, what arc it's on.
I think on 4 or 5.
Meliodas becomes a goat of a character, but I think the anime holds him back a lot, And then also he's kind of a creep, not gonna lie. But I think he's still lovable and like enjoyable as a character.
I agree. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's a good MC. Just the anime he's in is just not that.
Yeah, like he
Holds him back a
really
lot.
fits the series.
For sure. And I know, like, especially Saitama. Saitama might be a shock that I have in honorable mentions.
Honestly.
Because I know you're like, oh, he's over Saitama. But Saitama to me, I think he's a good protagonist. There's just some qualities I just don't like with him. I just feel that he shows up, takes out the guy, and he's funny, but I feel like there's not like many layers to him as a character. Like there's not much going on with him.
Yeah,
And
I can see that.
And if he's like a comedy character, then I understand. But he's not He's not solely for the comedic aspects, you know.
I kind of understand that now. Saitama doesn't really have that many layers of character development.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's very steady.
Yep. Yep.
I like him
100%.
grabbing fits though.
You like him what?
Grabbing fits.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll keep this PG-13,
Oh yeah, my bad.
but that's fine. All right, but anyways, that was number 15, Meliodas. It seemed like there was a little bit surprised, but otherwise, it seemed like people agree. Number 14. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about number 14. It is Hyakkimaru from Dororo. Okay, has anyone seen Dororo?
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
trying to remember it.
it.
Psycho, have you seen Dororo?
I get the names confused. Doro, like Doro.
It's Dororo.
Oh, is that the guy with the like has no senses?
No senses, no body, basically nothing.
I haven't watched that in like forever, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, they did a remake of the anime. It came out, I think, in 2019.
Yeah, I saw that.
But so YK, you've at least seen it. So what are your thoughts on it real quick before I give you my thoughts?
I think it's a pretty good, solid series.
What are your thoughts on Hyakkimaru though as a character?
I mean, kind of cool, pretty well written, just great.
So Hyakkimaru is here. I'll give a little bit of background with Dororo and Hyakkimaru. If you, excuse me, if you haven't seen the series. So Dororo follows this leader of a land essentially, and the land I think is dying. Like they're getting no crops. Like there's no rain, and I think like people in general are dying. So he makes a wish to these demons, basically, in order to make his land prosperous, he has to sacrifice his next born child, essentially. So he sacrifices his next born child for the better of the land, which ends up being Hyakkimaru, who is born skinless, no eyes, no ears, nothing.
What?
He's skinless. Exactly. So he's sacrificed, but he's still born with all those qualities. Then there's this like weaponsmith that finds the child because the child he puts the child like in a river or something. This weaponsmith finds the child and makes like a doll body for him. So basically gives him like a doll face, doll like arms, chest, legs, everything. And then his arms are detachable swords as well. So the story is following him regaining his body. And every time he takes down a demon, part of his body returns to him. So he's slowly becoming whole again. Even though you can't tell because he can't talk either, but he shows so much emotion, I feel like, in his subtlety, in the little things that he's doing. And I think that just adds to his character because we don't necessarily know exactly what's going on through his head because he can't talk. But you can tell with a lot of the emotion that he's conveying through his actions. And I think he's a really cool character. I love the journey he goes on. I love his determination. But at the same time, there's the dilemma with the story where even though he's getting his body back every time he takes down a demon, the land that his father loved that became prosperous is slowly becoming dead again. So there's that dilemma where is Hyakkimaru's needs outweigh the needs of like these thousands of people? But I think it's a really cool dilemma. I think the protagonist in general, I think he's really cool. And I thought the story that he went on and the journey he went on also was just inspiring, I'd say, and cool.
Can he write?
Can he write?
I don't think he can do
I don't
anything.
think he can. I've never seen him write at all. I mean, he has like dull arms that just are detachable swords, basically. He's grown up in just fighting, basically. Like, he doesn't know how to do much because he can't really do much at all. Yeah.
I feel
It's kind of
bad
messed up. Yeah, you sort of sympathize with him, especially with multiple moments that happen in the series. But YK, any more thoughts you want to give before I go to the next character?
I mean, I agree with almost everything you said, but sometimes in the series he came off as kind of stale. Like, you know, he's a good character and all, but there were scenes where he was kind of boring, I guess you could say.
Well, he can't really convey a lot because his face is the same expression consistently until he regains his face later on. And he
Wait.
can't talk.
So like he has zero. He just doesn't have a face.
Well, it's a doll face. Like, it's put on his face instead. See?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his whole body is basically like a doll.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Makes sense.
I do recommend watching it if you guys have. It's good anime. Okay, well, let's move on since only two of us really seen Dororo and know of Hyakkimaru. Number 13 is Kiritsugu Emiya from Fate Zero.
I should have known. I was shocked in the honorable mentions, I think.
I was shocked you didn't guess that he would be on there.
I mean, I think Fate Zero was like in your top 5.
It's in my top 5 favorite anime for sure.
I can't comment on anything.
Just this Fate one. I think you'll be able to comment on almost all the rest, Psycho, don't worry.
I just can't comment on the Fate. I'm getting there.
YK, have you seen Fate Zero?
Yes, sir.
Alright. You and Dee, I guess, will be able to lead the discussion. Or, what are your guys' thoughts on Kiritsugu Emiya from Fate Zero?
10 out of 10 MC.
Hell yes.
Absolutely impeccable character.
What about you, Dee? I know you're a huge fan of Fate. And also, context for some people, Dee made a list beforehand of what he really thought my main characters would be on here, and he did not include Emiya.
I think I did on the first one, but I removed it on the second one.
But what are your thoughts on him? I know you're a big Fate fan.
I just love the aspect of sacrifice with him. So he likes to get the majority of people on the good side to save as many people as he can. And that's what I like about him.
Yeah, he's actually kind of similar to the protagonist I was just talking about, where the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few with him. Where it's sort of similar with Hyakkimaru, where the dilemma of needs of the few, because it's just him, outweighing the needs of the many, which is the whole town and land. But yeah, I really like Kiritsugu. I think he's not only just a badass, but he, to me, of all the masters also in Fate, he's the only one I feel like has a goal, like an actual human heroic goal that he wants to achieve. And even though he will be painted as this killer and not heroic at all, he's willing to do it because it's better for the people. And I want to go over one scene of Kiritsugu that I think really defined him for me, and I think probably is my favorite scene of him in the whole series. And it was a scene where he encounters the Master of Lancer. I don't remember his name, while Lancer and Saber are engaging in a fight. And so, some context. This is some spoilers, but I think Psycho, I think you'll probably forget, to be honest, if I mention this. So Kiritsugu has this master's wife, I believe, tied up, like, in a location, and he then threatens Lancer's master to kill his own servant, Lancer, so then Saber could also win, in exchange for his wife. The master then goes through with this. He kills his own servant, but then Kiritsugu, after he sees that, takes out both that master and his wife. He kills them both. And yes, that's very cold of him, but at the same time, he did that because he's still trying to win. He's still trying to get to the goal of, which his goal, if he achieves the Holy Grail and makes his wish, is to rid the world of bloodshed. But he in order to get to that goal, he needs to take out these masters beforehand. And I thought that cold aspect of him, like willing to go through with that in order to get to his goal, was really cool.
Seems kind of contradictory.
Yeah. And he's not like a typical like heroic main character that many people probably would perceive as main characters in anime. If you know what I mean.
I love the triple acceleration part.
That was awesome too. Yeah, he has one of the best fights in anime, in my opinion, against Kirei Kotomine.
Technical issues.
So that was Kiritsugu. That was number 13 on my list. Number 12 is Shigeo, aka Mob, from Mob Psycho 100.
I love Mob.
Predictable.
Predictable, but he deserved to be on here.
Mob is also in your top 10 of anime, so...
I mean, not all the characters are just going to be on here just because they're on my top 10 or top 20.
We'll see after the video.
I guess we'll see. But, YK, have you seen Mob Psycho? I'm assuming you have?
Yep.
Alright, so what are your guys' thoughts on Mob as protagonist and main character of the story?
I think...
Well,
I'm pretty sure the
Mob
first...
is like a better version of Saitama.
100% agree.
Yeah, that's fact.
All the features that make Saitama interesting and compelling, but he adds everything that he's missing.
I am 100% agreeing with you.
Mob is that, what's the genre called? Why can't I remember the genre name?
What?
You know, like,
genre?
like the genre where, like, MC overpowered. No one can beat him.
Oh, there's a genre for that?
Yeah, there's a genre name. I forget what it's called, but he's, like, in perfect encapsulation of that.
Yeah. But, which is weird because, aside from his powers, obviously, he's insanely weak.
True.
I mean, and he doesn't, I don't think he wants to use his powers. I think he views his powers almost as a curse, because I think he wants to be normal or a human, because he wants to interact with the girl he likes, or interact with people in school, or like at least try to interact, but he's shy and reserved a lot because of the powers that he has, which is obviously insanity, what he can do.
Yeah, he's very humble about it. He doesn't try to, like, brag or shove it in anyone else's face. Yeah. He's like, hey, I can just beat you anytime I want.
But I do like what YK said also, that he's like Saitama. I think he does have all the qualities of Saitama in terms of the overpoweredness, his emotionless face at times, which leads to some of the comedic aspects. But at the same time, I think also there's more to his character and his development that he goes through during the series, where I think he's very timid at first, and then I think he starts realizing a lot that's going on with, like, Reagan and his interaction with Reagan, or the extent to his powers and what he needs to do in order to save the people that he values that are close to him. And I think he realizes that curse also at the same time is a gift.
I feel like he doesn't realize that until, like, a lot later. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Dee, what about you? What are your thoughts on the Mob?
I just like how stoned he looks.
Stoned.
He does look stoned.
I mean, that's just an animation. I mean, that's how they drew him. Like,
He's vibing. All
he's clearly
time.
not stoned, viewers. Clearly he's not.
He looks.
Yes, he looks stoned. His eyes make him look stoned.
He's very chill.
But what are aspects of Mob you guys like?
Like he's a kind-hearted individual. He doesn't really hold grudges, it seems, unless like you mess with his family. Like with that one guy, the president or something. I forget his name. Like the fight scene.
Like,
Yeah, I don't want to go in spoiler territory. Yeah, it's season 2.
One,
Yeah, he just goes like full out.
yeah, that was insane. That was amazing. Yeah, he's very emotionally driven.
Yeah.
As you can tell. YK, were you about to say something? Sorry.
No.
Okay. One of my favorite scenes of him, and this is like, I think in episode 2, so I don't think this really counts too much as a spoiler, but he's looking to join a club, and there was that like psychic club that really wanted Mob to join, and then I think like the girl he likes walks past, and he's trying to think about joining a club. And then he decides at the very end to join the body improvement club.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember the scene.
With all
That was
those
funny.
like jacked, jocked kind of guys, who are like the weakest person physically when you're looking at them.
Yeah.
Joining the body improvement club. That was a good laugh. That was one of my favorite moments, I think, with him. But his fight scenes also are all awesome.
The animation is just amazing.
Fight scenes are amazing. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's a great picture. Actually, I'll put it on the screen for the video during this segment right here. Yeah, that's Shigeo, and he is number 12 on the list. Next at number 11, actually didn't have him on my top 15 because I kind of forgot about him. And then when I was going through characters, I was like, wait a minute, how could I forget about this character? And I had to put him on here. It's Yato from Origami.
How did you even forget him?
I don't know how I could forget Yato. I think I was just looking at a lot of the anime that I really liked. And I did like Origami, especially season 2, but it didn't make my top 50 or anything. But I love Yato.
I can see
Love
it.
Yato. Alright, who here has seen Origami?
I've seen it.
Same.
YK, have you seen Origami?
2 episodes.
2 episodes? Did you drop it?
Yeah, I fell asleep.
You listen to the OP.
Both OPs.
Both OPs are so good.
They, like, Noragami did not fail on OPs, that's for sure.
I
True.
think I only saw the first season, by the way.
Oh, what? The season 2 is even better.
Yeah.
I don't remember much of it, but I do remember watching it, obviously.
So you watched season 1 and season 2?
I'm pretty sure I've watched both.
Okay. So season 2 I think is better, but I think he's still pretty good in season 1, but I think season 2 is actually better. So, for context, he is the god of fortune, or at least that's what he wants to be called, where anyone can give him 5 yen, and then he can basically he's sort of like an odd jobs kind of thing. He'll do an odd jobs for the 5 yen. And also, at the same time, in the universe that was created in Origami, if a god is forgotten, that's how they die. And so Yato is struggling to be remembered and not be forgotten. So he's basically an odd jobs is putting like posters up like, hey, for 5 yen, I'll do this for you or whatever. But what really also I liked about Yato is some of his background. So he's the labeled the god of fortune now, but back then he actually was the god of calamity. He was like a war god, and his background with that actually really added to his character. But at the same time, I mean, Yato I think is just one of the most enjoyable, goofy presences in anime, where no matter what he's doing on screen, you just have to love what he's doing because he's just so enjoyable to watch with everything that he's doing. I think he really carried the series on his shoulders with everything that he did. But that could just be just me, but I think many others would probably agree.
I don't think he carried it, but
I think he carried it.
His interactions with the other characters were like his just personality. What do you mean?
Sorry, keep going. Keep going.
His personality in general is just really good. It's fun.
What other characters in Noragami could hold a candle to even contributing that much to the series?
Well, of course they're not going to contribute as much, but I mean
But I can't even think of another character name. I'm gonna be honest.
Yukin, he was pretty cool.
Who?
Yukin, the sword that he.
I hated him in season 1 in the beginning.
Well, yeah, he was like a child, wasn't he?
I mean, yeah, he was a
He
child.
grew. His character development was pretty good, but
His character
Yato.
development did get better, but he was so annoying.
He was. I agree. But Yato's just interactions with the other characters in general were just fun. Were just good, I guess. I can't really think, but I don't remember much of it. His interactions with Bishamon, how they have that rivalry.
Well, Bishamon dislikes him because in Yato's past, when he was the god of calamity, he killed many of the people I think that served her, or I think some of the people that were under her.
I'm pretty sure it was something like that.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why she has a hatred towards Yato. But DD or YK, what are you guys' thoughts on Yato?
Well, when he slept in a trash can, that was cool.
He sleeps in homeless places a lot. He just has no money or anything.
Didn't he fight a water bubble?
Fight a water bubble.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking of. Well, some of the spirits that he's fighting sort of look like.
Oh yeah.
Well, one of them looked like that. I know which one you're talking about, but there's different forms that they take, and that was
that scene was kind of cool as well.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of much
like
of
that.
it.
I can't really think of the fights too much because I don't think they're a big aspect of it. Where it's the social commentary and themes of Noragami that are the highlights of it.
Yeah.
But to me, Yato in general. But DD, what are your thoughts more so on Yato?
I was gonna talk about the trash can as well, but
Why is the trash can so notable?
Trash can is the main part of his character.
But about his character, I just like how at one second he's serious and at the other second he's joking around.
Yeah.
His mood swings are just amazing.
He's serious when he
really
wants to be.
lends to how enjoyable the character is. And it's just easy to follow and love him, I'd say, because of that. Because he can be serious and then he can just be goofing around next scene. But yep, that is Yato at number 11. Alright, so we reached the top 10, and starting off, number 10 is probably the biggest Chad in anime manga of all time. No joke. Alright, you guys ready for the biggest Chad?
I'm ready.
Alright, it's Kazuma from Konosuba.
Oh, dude, he's. Oh, let's go. Personally, I have him top 3, but I respect it. At least he's on the list.
I love Kazuma.
He's such a good character.
He's also the biggest Chad for sure, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. He's such a Chad that he doesn't even want the harem he has.
He's
he has.
and he doesn't want it. YK and DD, you guys had a particular reaction to my Chad comment. What do you think of Kazuma?
I like the previous thing.
Kazuma the GOAT.
Yes.
Kazuma best character ever. 10
I
out of 10.
agree.
Impeccable writing.
It's so
Should you
good.
have been higher on the list or something?
He should have been higher.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have him on the list, but he's
Wait,
Oh, come on.
calling him a 10 out of 10 character is not even on the
You
list.
call him a 10 out of 10. Come on. He's a 10 out of 10. How's he not?
He's like a top 20, but he's really
Okay.
funny.
It's amazing. His interactions with
In my top 5.
You put him in your top 5?
Yeah,
I put him in my top 3.
Let me look at the other guys. I don't know if I could move him higher, even though I love Kazuma. I think there's other characters. These other characters, I think, just stand out to me more as the main character. But Kazuma's amazing. I mean, while a lot of these other characters I have value for their character development, their journey they go through, their interactions, or just whatever, Kazuma to me is one of the most hilarious characters in anime.
He doesn't
And
need
his interactions with the whole cast, not just like the main cast, but everybody in the whole anime, they just have me dying of laughter consistently, all the time. I think one of my favorite scenes of Kazuma when he's with Aqua is the rock, paper, scissors scene.
Oh, that's funny as
You
hell.
guys remember that?
Dude, it's so funny.
I never lose a battle of rock, paper, scissors. It's not fair, Aqua, you boosted your luck stat. And then it's like, okay, time to play rock, paper, scissors. John, Ken, Poe. And it's I still never lose a rock, paper, scissors game in my life.
So good.
Oh, it's so good. And then I love the scene too when the other guy who comes into the world who was also summoned by Aqua when he got that big sword, and he fights Kazuma because Kazuma is chaining up Aqua, like carrying her around in a cage because how useless she is, and he challenges Kazuma, and Kazuma, who has no combat prowess, only has the steal ability, and he steals this.
Oh yeah, and he
sword,
bonks him on the head.
and it just because he's not strong enough to wield it. It just like it weighs down and hits him in the head.
So good. I love that scene.
Speaking about stealing, I love the. And you know what I'm gonna say.
I
Yeah.
know. Yes, that's great too.
Let's go.
Let's go. Because Kazuma's a bit of a perv, but he's hilarious nonetheless.
I just think the best part about his character is that he has mostly everything he wants. He has the women.
Yes.
He has the money, but he just doesn't want them. He wants other people.
I don't think he has that much money.
I thought he earned a lot of money from.
Oh, he did get that mansion, right? Didn't
Yeah.
they get that mansion?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay. So I guess he
Didn't
did.
he
Yeah.
like lose that money?
He probably.
He
did.
probably.
His luck. I think his luck stat's pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another one of my favorite Cosmo moments. I'll say one more, and then I want everybody to at least say another moment they like a Cosmo because I think he's got a lot. Or if you can't think of one, that's fine. But another one of my favorite ones. It's not even really Cosmo, but it's Darkness. It's in season 2 when Darkness is supposed to be engaged to a prince, and I don't remember the exact quote that she says, but she says something like along the lines because she wants him to be not so like polite and like gentlemanly. Like he's like she
wants him
telling
to
the prince,
degrade her.
why can't you look at me lustfully like Kazuma constantly does? Why can't you berate me and beat me like Kazuma does? And Kazuma's just white face like, And the prince is like, I cannot. I'm a gentleman. I will treat you like a woman. No, I want you to hit me and beat me like Kazuma would. He values gender equality. It's like crap like that. I just thought it was really funny.
One of my favorite moments is gotta be when he's with Megumin. They're just like skipping down the path. It's just iconic.
Oh, sure. Skipping down the path to the castle that Megumin will blow up.
It's just so good.
DD or YK, what about you?
You know
My
he
favorite.
Oh,
let's
let's
start
start with YK. Let's start with YK.
That's like when Cosmo has like the choker on.
Wait, the what?
Like it's like in the OVA, and he has like a choker on.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Remember.
Like, if he like tricks everybody that if they don't do what he says, he'll die.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So, like he uses all the other girls for like sexual things, but with Aqua, he just tells her to go and buy wine and bread all the time. And I just kind of find that fucking hilarious. Like she gets so mad.
Oh, I remember that now. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And then I think it's revealed later that it wasn't. And then
Yeah.
he gets so pissed at him. DD, what about you? Favorite Cosmo scene?
You could probably make a whole video about this, but one of my favorite ones is probably when Darkness said she was pregnant with Kazuma's child, and his reaction was hilarious.
I
Dude,
don't remember that moment either.
every
but that felt
reaction
like
is
an
just
amazing
funny.
one, too. I bet that one's good too. I just love Kazuma. I think he's endlessly funny and entertaining.
I think
All right. Oh, what?
I think that if just hearing his name made us laugh that hard, just shows how funny he is.
Exactly. My comment of him being the biggest Chad. I stand by my comment. All right, he's better than, especially some of the characters that will appear later on this list. He's bigger Chad. He's a bigger Chad than all of them. He's the manliest man I know. Kazuma Sato. Okay. Sure, that's a good idea, TD. All right. Next, at number 9, is a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure character.
Like I hate.
But, I'm just curious what you guys think it'll be. Which one? Let's start Psycho. Psycho, which one?
I'm just gonna go with like. I don't know the names. I don't watch JoJo's. I can't.
What?
I just can't. No. I watched the first.
Alright.
I watched the first 3 seasons, but I just can't watch past it.
All right, you know what? I'm skipping you, Psycho. Okay. YK, which JoJo's character do you think will be on here? If you've seen JoJo's.
Nope.
All right, so YK is muted on this. Oh, there he
Oh
is.
wait, no, sorry. I think
Which
it's
one?
gonna be Yosuke.
You think it's gonna be Yosuke?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, from part
And-
4.
Yep. I know part 4 very well. Didi, which one do you think's gonna be on here?
Jotaro,
Okay. So
pretty sure.
at number 9 is Jotaro.
Dio.
I would say my second favorite though is Joseph from part 2, and also I guess in part 3 and 4, but he's the main character in part 2. But I love Jotaro I think the most, but he's close with Joseph. It's kind of back and forth with me for them because I think Joseph. Why are you saying? Okay, wait. YK, what are your thoughts? Real quick before I get into it. YK, you're muted also. Okay. But I go back and forth, I think, on Joseph and Jotaro, which one I like more. Because it's similar to Kazuma, Joseph is very entertaining, it's very comedic, and how he fights also, he sort of fights dirty, I kind of like. And also later on in the series, I like. But also Stan, I thought was very disappointing. Whereas I think with Jotaro, I value the Chad, the badass, where at first he is sort of like a dick, but you see later on how he really starts to appreciate and really starts to care for the people around him, and his mom also with her sickness, and his teammates and his whole squad. And I think he does go through a little development, but at the same time, I like Jotaro for his badassery and just how stoic he is, and basically his presence alone scares people off, but also is obviously his insane stand. But I love Jotaro. YK, real quick, it seems like you have a little bit of reaction to me picking Jotaro. What are your thoughts on that?
Jotaro is really, really, really terrible.
What? You don't like him at all?
No star.
What? Why?
He's just not like he's just so well. If you take like Jotaro in part 3 alone, he's just a really stale, one-dimensional character. He doesn't have a whole lot going on except Ooga Booga, I want to beat Dio.
I also like him in part 4 too. And I've started reading part 6 as well.
Yeah, Jotaro in part 6 is great.
I like his dynamic where he also has he's a fatherly figure as well.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect
that's
of
a
him
lot
too.
of spoilers.
I'm not going to go into it. But at the same time, I still liked him a lot in part 3 and part 4. Where in part 4, he sort of served also as like a mentor to to Josuke. Josuke actually, I think, surprisingly, aside from Jonathan, I think Jonathan's the worst Joestar. I think next up would be Josuke. I didn't really care for him too much, and also I think he doesn't even really appear too much. He's not even, I feel like, the focus in Part 4. I feel like even Kira is the focus in Part 4, if anything. But anyway, I'm talking about Jotaro. Didi, what are your thoughts on Jotaro?
Before I start with Jotaro, I think Jonathan is just underappreciated.
He is nothing. He's so boring to me. Also,
No, he's a Ted.
he's a meme at this point.
Jonathan is better than Jotaro.
Oh, I completely disagree. Jonathan is ass. Wait, Psycho. You saw?
I saw.
Yeah, you saw Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Yeah.
I just couldn't watch past Part 3.
It gets better after Part 3. Part 4 and Part 5 are the two best in my opinion.
It's just so many episodes, man. I can't.
It's amazing though.
I heard it was amazing. I watched a little bit of Part 6, but that's about it.
The fights and entertaining aspect of JoJo's is almost unmatched.
I remember the fights are just amazing, but I just can't watch past Part 3. Well, I probably can right now, but when I was actually watching it, I just couldn't.
Alright, so, Didi, what were you going to say again about Jotaro?
I have to agree with YK on it because he's like getting beaten up and then he gets a power up and he's like, okay, I'm gonna punch you, and then wins the battle.
Well, he doesn't get a power up. He always has. What power? Besides the time thing.
He sound better.
Wait, besides the time thing that he gained against Dio, what other power up did he get?
He learns how to use Star Finger from the younger.
Star Finger? What?
Yeah.
Star Finger.
It's like a move where he uses two fingers and shoots it like pretty far. Straight.
Oh, that's right. I did forget about that. I didn't think that was bad at all. I mean, that's part of JoJo's in general. I feel like is the moves they sort of gain over. I mean, with Joseph, like when he's fighting, like he comes up with some BS way to win, but that's part of his character, and that's why I like it. Same with like every JoJo's character, like they find ways to get out of these battles and win these battles in some crazy way, but it's enjoyable still to watch at the same time. You know, I just feel like that's JoJo's in general. I think you just gotta at least to me, that's just you just have to appreciate at that point that they're gonna come up with these bizarre, crazy ways in order to win. I mean, it is. I mean, it's true. That's what JoJo's is. But I see, I guess, somewhat what you're saying. I mean, he can be somewhat stale, but I just love so one scene in particular with Jotaro that I really liked was the scene where he was, I don't remember which stand user it was, but it was the one that had Jotaro under control, and Jotaro was willing to go through all that also just to ensure that his squad was fine. But then immediately, right when the situation turned on its head where he was free from the stand user, he just destroyed the living crap out of him. I loved it. Wow, thank you. Alright, well, anyone else have any thoughts? Otherwise we can move on. Alright, sounds like no one else. Okay, so let's move on to number 8 then. So at number 8 is Edward Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist.
I love Edward.
Do it.
YK?
Oh,
YK, you're muted.
I have problems. Probably.
Okay, well, what are you guys' thoughts on Edward? Let's go Psycho first.
Edward is seems to be very self-sacrificient. Like he kind of just sacrifices himself a lot for the greater good. Like the way he's just a good character, I guess. I'm bad with words.
Here, we'll come back to
come back to me. I'll
Didi, what about you?
Well, I agree with him about the sacrificial stuff. I love
Yeah.
that like about Kiritsugu as well.
Of course.
And I like how mature he is for his age. Like he's pretty positive. He can give positive vibes, good motivator, etc.
For sure. YK, what about you? Thoughts on Edward?
Edward is a great protagonist. He's very unconventional for shonen, and he subverts expectations a lot. And he's way better than top 8. Way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
He,
He's in the top 5.
to me, he was battling with number 7. I think I kind of switched those two around a lot, but I decided to keep number 7 where it is. But I love Edward. I mean, I have no problem with it. I don't think he was beating the top 5, maybe even top 6. To me, I just knew who was going to be there, and there's no way I was changing it. But what else do you like about Edward, before I give some of my thoughts?
His development in the series is really well done. It's very, very real. It's very realistic.
I do agree with that. Like his development throughout the story is pretty good. Like so,
And at the end, like, you know, the final scene.
I also want to like branch off of what Didi said. Like even though he went through like so much at a young age, he always keeps like the positive vibes. Doesn't always.
There was I think 2 moments in particular that I think just broke him, and it's tough not to. And that was learning one about Nina, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
And the other about when he learned about the truth about the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
That's a messed up.
That was such a twist, and that was so messed up. But learning that also, in terms of the series, was amazing. But it was also a good moment for Edward and Alphonse, because achieving the Philosopher's Stone was their whole goal. That was getting their bodies back, in particular Alphonse. That's why Edward actually set out on that journey, is for his brother. And learning how you make Philosopher's Stone, that just broke him, you could tell. I mean, that moment in the Nina, I think, were the 2 biggest moments for him, where you could just tell that there's no way you could be positive about it. That just destroyed him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Seems.
No, what else were you gonna say, Psycho?
Nah.
Okay. But yeah, I do love Edward Elric. I mean, he's in the top 8 for a reason. It's not like I don't like him, but yeah, I love his development. I think the story and journey he goes through is actually probably one of the best journeys in anime. And I think his goal in general is something that we can really just relate to and cheer for. But at the same time, I also love like his background development with it. So he's doing all this because of the mistakes that he made with alchemy in the beginning, and where he thought he could do this transmutation to bring back his mother, which was a noble thing to do, but he fiddled with something that he didn't fully understand, which led to his brother's body being taken away and obviously loss of his arm and leg. But I really love also what you said about how he's not typical shonen protagonist. I agree. I think he differs on that, and I think he's actually one of the best shonen protagonists because of that. Because he doesn't have that typical trope that you see a lot of days with shonen protagonists. And he's not particularly overpowered either, like the strongest character in the series, or one of them. I mean, he's strong enough to like be in a fight, but he's not one of the strongest in the series too. But do you guys have any other thoughts on Edward Elric?
Not really.
YK, you seem definitely surprised that he didn't wasn't in the top 5. I'm really curious if later on if you will start hating some of the characters that I have instead.
Put Kirito top 3.
Kirito, which is number 1. What do you mean?
There's one guy who has to be top 5.
Okay, I'm just curious. You can say it now if you'd like. I mean, the list isn't changing.
Takemichi from Tokyo Revengers, easy top 5.
Dude, I agree.
Okay.
Well,
I will not say anything.
Okay.
Didi, Edward Elric, any more thoughts on him as well?
Nah.
Okay. Then let's move on to number 7, which is Araragi from the Monogatari series.
I got it. Let's go. My joke,
I thought it would be hard.
dude.
Here it goes.
Araragi is so good.
Monogatari series, you read it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. Is this at least an acceptable choice?
Man, you should have been top 3.
Oh, interesting. Man, I really wonder then what you're going to think about some of these other characters. Because to me, I think they're just like, for sure, top protagonists, but okay. What do you, so let's start with Psycho, because I know he has a Monogatari PFP. He's been reading and watching, reading mainly, Monogatari lately. So what are your thoughts on Araragi as a character in MC?
Oh my god, never mind. Skip me for a sec.
Skip you for a sec? Okay,
For a sec,
let's go to DD. Actually, wait, no, you haven't seen Monogatari. YK, what are some of your thoughts on Araragi?
Well, he's very unique, or he was
I'm doing
for a while. The way he interacts with the cast is really good. His development is
Okay.
impeccable. He's pretty likable sometimes.
Sometimes I was about to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going.
And how do I explain it? You know, there's some scenes with him where he doesn't say a word, but there's so much substance to him anyway.
100%. 100%. I guess also with the animation. The animation does an amazing job.
Yeah. But he's also kind of a dickhead.
He's a huge dickhead. What do you mean?
Not a huge one. I mean, he does a lot
yeah,
of
I guess.
stuff to think in the series.
For sure. Actually, his main journey in the series is very selfless, yes, but he is a dick. I'd say.
Yeah. But I think that adds to him, though, like how ambiguous he is morally.
Right. I agree with that as well.
It keeps the series very unpredictable.
And makes his interactions also very unique.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I remember something.
Wait, what?
I've seen the toothbrush scene.
We're not talking about that scene.
Let's skip over that one with Araragi. Psycho, what about your thoughts on Araragi as a character?
Look, he's a huge perv. Let's just get that out of the way. I think he most of the time he does what's right. He tries to save as many people.
He's very selfless.
He's very selfless. Even if he never met them before.
Yeah.
Like he helped the snail just because she was a little girl. Okay.
Keep going. Ignore the chat.
He keeps the people in his life high, like on the list of who is important. He has seems his priorities are kind of straight on who's most important to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with what you were saying with him. His journey is very selfless, and also at the same time with that, he's throwing away his body all the time. And when I say that, I'm saying in every fight he is in order to save that person. I mean, at the same time, he's a vampire, so he's immortal, but his body literally is being torn to shreds just to save these people. And he's not necessarily like a strong fighter at all, but it's his will and just his non-stop determination in order to help and save these people that is just carrying him through all these fights. And his interactions, I think, with everybody in the cast is amazing. It's some of the best interactions probably with any character in anime, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
General.
The interactions are so good.
They're not only entertaining in terms of comedic value, but they're also just, he can get serious and also just very down to earth with them as well. But also at the same time, he can be kind of a dick and pervy. That's just adds to his character. He's also very relatable at the same time. I mean, he's in a lot of ways,
we
were in high school like us, but we had these powers, and we had that goal of being able to try and save people.
Yeah.
It's very relatable with that.
I agree with that.
But I love Araragi. I think I don't think he necessarily carries the series, because I think the whole cast of Monogatari is very good. I think with each episode and each arc, you just learn about a new character, new situations going on that just really helps develop some of the characters and give moments to them. But Araragi is almost always in the middle of all these and dealing with all these conflicts.
Yeah,
It just makes him also just very, very cool to watch and see how he develops with everything.
I think it's one of like best casts in anime, easily.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Alright, so that is Araragi. And I think, Didi, I think the rest you should be able to talk about. I'm sorry if there's been a few that you don't know. But I think the rest you should be able to at least discuss some.
You should get on Monogatari,
though. Can I try to guess like the top 5?
Alright, well, we're at number 6 right now.
Fair.
Okay, if you want, you can guess. Actually, no, I don't want you to. I don't want you to feel.
I got my answer.
Fine, if you want, it's not changing, but sure, if you want to guess the top 6, that's fine.
No, let's continue.
Okay. So, at number 6, and I think this will be a character that probably YK definitely will say is worse than Araragi and Edward. But I love him. It's Simone from Gurren Lagann. I heard that little whisper of, oh my god. I want to start with YK. So Simone.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a good character. He fits the series perfectly. He does everything right. Blah blah blah. And I think it's a fair position to give him, if it wasn't above Edward and Araragi.
Well, if you see my top 5, I don't think I could put those two in the top 5. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at my top 5 right now, and there's zero chance of putting them in there. I guess it will be revealed later, but sorry, keep going.
I mean, the only issue I think he really had is that in the beginning of the series, he's pretty annoying, and he doesn't really feel like the main character until a very specific moment. That's kind of spoiler.
Yeah, we won't reveal spoilers for Gurren Lagann, really. Or at least no major spoilers. I see what you're saying, though, with that. And I'll get to some of my points in a sec. Let's start next with Didi, since he didn't talk in the last one. What are your thoughts on Simone?
I like how he was just a little kid and then grew so much. The character development is amazing.
Mm-hmm. I think he has one of the best character developments.
He was digging some holes, and at the end he also just went for the whole universe.
Yeah, he went from digging holes to digging the universe. Literally.
Yeah, you say.
But do you have anything? What else do you have to say about Simone?
Common a ripoff.
Oh, boo. I sort of see what you mean by that, but I obviously disagree. But, Psycho, what about you? What are your thoughts
I do think
on Simone?
Basically just what YK said. He's just a kid. Just branching off what the others said, not just YK. He's just a kid, and his character development throughout the story is just... He grows into an amazing character.
Yeah, I 100% agree. He starts, so I get what you're saying. Yeah, he starts off kind of whiny, not really likable, I'd say, but also because Kamina is just amazing. Kamina is also an awesome character, amazing character. Simone, though, gets tasked with leading the Daiguren team, who are trying to basically rebel from what the norms are, basically leading or being in these underground villages. They want to be in the surface, being able to do whatever they want up there. And he is tasked with leading this big rebellion group. And at a young age, that's obviously a huge thing, a huge burden to be on yourself. And his development journey he goes through after a certain episode, where he goes into a bit of a depression mode because of some things, and I love his journey to becoming the badass and becoming epic, where he has these characters that are basically helping him out on his journey, and even throughout the whole journey, like Kami is helping him actually throughout the whole journey of him. Nina is helping him basically go for a certain goal, and his journey then becoming the leader, and then becoming this figurehead to everybody that they all look up to. When he started from this kid who was just digging holes at like 10 years old and younger, it's just the grand scope of Gurren Lagann is insane, but also just I love his journey in particular. But do you guys have any other thoughts on Simone?
Nah.
Is better.
I do love Kamina. I love Kamina a lot. Kamina's ramifications, everything with him, the whole series is awesome. So I'm talking about the main character. Simone is for sure the main character of the series. And I think Simone really is inspired by Kamina. I think that's why you guys think he's a knockoff of him. But I think his journey as well, that Kamina doesn't necessarily go through, but the journey Simone goes through, I think is really interesting. Where his development is just integral to the story.
Yeah, don't believe in yourself, believe in me who believes in you.
Yep, for sure.
You could real break this.
And also real quick with Gurren, I just love the grand scope of where it was literally kind from underground village to fighting on the ground. Then they're fighting the crap in the effing universe by the end of the series. So I love the scope of it, and basically nothing is impossible once you put your mind into it. You can do the unbeatable, do the impossible, whatever. And I love that thematic element to it.
Still got rejected though.
F.
Simone?
Yeah, didn't he get rejected at the end?
No, not really. I don't want to say exactly what happened, but no, he didn't get rejected.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't get rejected though. Yeah, that is Simone. Alright, so now we move on to the top 5, which again, I don't see changing. It'd be tough for a character, I think, to crack into this top 5, to be honest, for main characters in anime and manga. So number 5, and we're gonna keep spoilers to a minimum, especially no manga spoilers. We'll just talk about anime because I know it's okay. It's Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan.
Okay.
I don't get the hype.
What?
I don't get the hype.
Alright, I can counter that pretty well, but what are your guys' thoughts on Eren? Real quick.
I think he's a good character, don't get me wrong. But best anime shonen protagonist, or just MC in general, I just don't.
Number 5.
I personally don't agree. I think he's good though. I think he should be top 15. I just don't see him top 5 on.
Alright, what about you, YK?
Well,
And we'll keep manga to spoilers to almost none. No manga spoilers.
Well, you completely disagree. I can't really explain why, because manga spoilers.
Is it related to the ending?
yes.
Okay. So I am one of those people where actually I'm not going to get into it. But the ending is not necessarily what I wanted, but I don't think
it's a bad ending.
Undermines everything that he did.
No, it doesn't undermine it, but it was, I think it could have been set up better. It kind of took away part of the character.
Okay, we're not going to get into the manga spoilers.
Yeah.
Especially Attack on Titan, which is one of the biggest anime manga of all time right now. I don't want to spoil that in this video for anime walkers. Alright, so yeah, we won't spoil it for DD. But otherwise, YK, what are your thoughts on Eren?
Really good main character. Definitely top 30.
Top 30?
Yeah, top 30.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe top 40.
That's better.
Wait, I think you have a Senku PFP. Do you like Senku more than Eren?
No.
Okay.
It's because he's so black. It's for the meme.
Yeah, Black Senku.
Yeah.
Alright, but anyways, yeah. What else with Eren? What you gotta say? If you had to say anything good or anything bad, you can give criticism, obviously.
I mean, Eren is cool. Really well written, but it's kind of annoying.
I would agree at first.
I think he matures over the series.
Yeah, there's still some scenes where, even in season 4, where I felt like, can you please just stop talking?
Yeah, where he has that like child
really?
mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved him in season 4. Well, obviously because I love him in general, but also because of the manga. But
good character though, with top 40.
DD, what about you? Thoughts on Eren Yeager?
Top 30.
Jeez. So you've only gone up to. Have you at least seen season 4 of the anime?
Yeah, I've seen all of the anime.
Okay. And no, just doesn't do it for you.
No, I like the character, but I don't think he's like top 10, top 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the same with you, Psycho?
No, I think he's top 15 still, but I just don't think he's top 5.
Have you read all the manga?
I have read all the manga.
Okay. All right.
I think.
Okay. So, I just want to say a few things there. So, from season 1, actually, even season 1, 2, 3, I'd say 3 part 1. Those 3, he would probably be around top 40 for me.
Yeah.
If I was going off of those, because he is annoying. He's like, I have to eliminate all the Titans. He just keeps screaming, I have to kill all the Titans, even though I'm a Titan.
He's basically only character trope of that.
And he just keeps getting captured. He's like, everyone just wants to capture him, blah, 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 blah. He just isn't as interesting to me during that. Season 3, part 2, I think, is really where it does the transformation, where Eren becomes the character that he's now in my top 5, at number 5 in particular. And his transformation just continues, and his development just continues into season 4 and later in the manga, and everything going on in the manga, where it's a completely different character. I think he really borderlines the trope of hero and villain at times with it, but he's still the main character of the story, and his goals and what he's trying to do is still not as like a villainous goal at all. What he wants to do is still very personable, and you can see why he's doing it and how he came to that point. But at the same time, it's his journey and what he goes through and what he does to people in the series. It's kind of like, not like, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's harsh, but he's doing it for a certain reason. I just can't get into spoilers with it. He's the sort of character that's hard to say, because obviously with Attack on Titan it's hard to go into spoilers. But I love his transformation and what he does in season 4. Actually, I want to talk about one thing with season 4 in particular, because we can talk about anime. What he does to the village in is it Marley? In Marley.
Yeah.
It perfectly reflects what happened to him in the beginning of the series in season 1, where when the Armor Titan and the Colossal Titan destroyed his hometown and everything in it, and he becomes vengeful to take them out. It's the same thing that happens with him, except now he does it to Marley. And that reflection, I think, is actually really interesting, where he doesn't necessarily, I don't think he necessarily realizes that the damage that he actually caused because of it, and he actually experienced it in his own, like in season 1.
I'm pretty sure he realizes this. I'm pretty sure he says something about what I'm doing, like to Reiner or something, that what he's doing right there is kind of reflecting what they did to him and his.
Yeah. You're right. I'm sorry.
I didn't remember until just now, but I'm pretty sure he said something how like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. I know that I'm basically doing what you guys did to me. But
his confrontation also with Reiner still gives me chills, not gonna lie.
It does.
But I love Eren. I think also Attack on Titan in general, there's many characters that go between hero and villain, but I think he's the character that really just defines that role, where his motives
are cruel.
They're I mean, what he does is cruel,
Yeah, that's
but he obviously views himself as the hero. But do you guys have any other thoughts on Eren?
Nope.
Not really.
Alright, then I guess we can move on, even though I do love Eren. I don't like that he got so much hate. I agree with the hate that he got early on, because he was whiny and not likable. But I really liked his transformation that he went through.
Yeah.
For the rest of the series. After season 3 part 2 I liked, and then everything after, even until the manga ending, which we won't get into, I loved with Eren. Actually, not everything, but you get the points. Number 5. Alright, so number 4 is Light Yagami from Death Note, aka Kira.
Yeah.
Alright, speechless, I can tell. What's with you and predictable? Like, I'm picking the characters I just think are the best, or the ones I like, and
No, because I know what you like. That's why.
I know it's true. But Light Yagami, Psycho. What about you? What are your thoughts on him?
He's very intelligent. He like orchestrates. I'm pretty sure I haven't read it in a while, but I'm pretty sure he orchestrates like most of the events that happen.
Ooh, you read Death Note?
Yeah.
I've never read it. I've only seen the anime.
I've seen a little bit of the anime, but it was only like season 1. I've mostly just read. But from what he like doesn't he, like orchestrate like almost everything to find himself after he like fools L or something like that. Sorry, I'm just.
I mean, yes, he's obviously orchestrating almost everything in the series.
Yeah. I just think he's. What's the right word? He's very self-centered, has huge ego.
Huge ego. Very egotistical.
But I feel like most of his actions are warranted. They have a lot of meaning. Just.
Alright, YK, what are your thoughts on Light Yagami?
Really good character. He's not top 5 for me, but very complex, well written, interesting. I think the journey he goes from like trying to do the right thing to eventually just nope, I'm just gonna be God. Sucks to suck, guys.
Yeah.
His relationship with L is just perfect as well.
I think that is probably the best rivalry in anime, are those two.
Yeah, like the way they foil each other really elevates the characters.
Actually, him and another rivalry, but we won't get into it. But yeah, I 100% agree. Their interactions and the rivalry and just dynamic between them are outstanding. Period. The series for sure. What else? What else do you like about Light?
Well, I really like the way he switches. You know, like the way that he's like multiple characters in one. In one scene, he's this light, and then in another, he's another light. I think that's really fun to see.
Yeah, he has kind of like a split personality, sort of.
I think it's his God complex that's also that, where, for sure. Dee, what about you? What are your thoughts on Light?
I think he likes potatoes.
No, not potatoes, potato chips. There's a clear difference.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm done.
What else? What else aside from potato chips do you like about Light?
I like how competitive he is. He literally does everything to win. Like even if it's in a bad way, for like sacrifice and stuff, he doesn't care.
In a lot of ways he is that character where, sort of similar to Eren and another character later on in the list, that he's doing these actions so he's similar to another character later on in the list, and same with Eren, where his actions may not be perceived as heroic, but at the same time he's doing what he thinks is right in a lot of instances early on, maybe not later on, but like when he was writing down criminals' names in the Death Note, or people that he doesn't think should be here because they already had their chance. So he's basically being judge, jury, and executioner for a lot of these people that he views as criminals, scumbags, whatever. But I love his character. I think his dynamic also with Ryuk is amazing as well. But obviously his dynamic with Light and the mental battle that those two go through obviously carry the entire series. At least the first like 2/3, I'd say. And then I do love that he basically becomes God later on, and he switches like that, and that's when he still is an interesting character. But you're right. Why? Okay, can you mute your mic? Sorry, it's just a lot of noises. Okay, but I do love this character, and I also love the ending of Death Note with what happens with him. But his whole journey that he goes through also is just very interesting.
Yeah, I think the ending really, like, it's a really good ending, in my opinion.
I agree. I think the ending does. But Psycho, do you have any other thoughts on Kira or Light Yagami?
I think Kira as a whole, how he has, like, there's not just one Kira, there's Light Yagami, there's Mira, there's the other two, I forget their names.
Right.
Like how he uses almost everything to his, like, advantage.
There's another scene also that I loved with Light Yagami or Kira, and it was earlier on in the series. It was with the woman detective who he killed her husband.
Yeah.
And that whole episode of basically him trying to find out her name so he could write it in the little like note that he took out, the death note, was
I remember
amazing.
That. That was so good.
And then also he couldn't help showcase how he won to her before he killed her, because when he was like, "Oh, what are you doing over there?" He said, "Oh, guess what? I'm Kira." And then he just writes it, and she's just like, "Oh." And she's
that
dead.
scene was amazing.
She walks to her death. I love that. And it's also love that he just couldn't hold that in, and his cockiness and egotisticalness, where he just has to reveal that
everything.
Like, you know what? I was the one behind it. I'm Kira. And I just love it. I love that aspect of him.
I like the scene where L, like, I don't know if I mean, I guess you can say it like that, where he figures out that that Light is Kira, and just the way the anime kind of had that moment, like, paused it, the music over it was just amazing.
Yeah, for sure, 100% agree. I think the anime really did everything right in terms of Light and L. I think everything it did with it was spot on.
Yeah.
Dee, what are your thoughts on Kira before we go into the next character? Just final thoughts.
The moment where he erased his own memory, that was amazing.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was amazing.
It was so good. The way it was just all planned out, honestly, it was just so good.
Yeah, he orchestrated so many moments in this series where it blew my mind. I was just so surprised about what happened with it. But I think L also contributed a lot to it, but Light had so many of those moments.
The writing also made it seem like it wasn't forced either.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want to get more into it, but that was awesome. I agree. Alright, so that is Kira, aka Light. Alright, we have the top 3. So, coming in at number 3 is Guts from Berserk.
I can't comment. I told you I didn't.
I know, you haven't read Berserk yet. Actually, did you start it? I forgot.
I got to chapter 12.
Oh, okay. So you barely got into it.
Barely anything at all.
Do you already know what happens in
I
Berserk?
I know a little bit. I don't know all of it.
Do you ever plan on reading it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't care if you spoil it a little bit.
Okay, I may spoil this a little bit then. YK, have you read Berserk? Or watched it, I guess. Either one. Oh, wait, you're muted.
I read it.
You read it? How
Yeah,
far?
yeah. I read all of it.
Ooh! Oh, I love Berserk.
Berserk is great.
Alright, so do you agree then Guts should be the side? Because I know you were a little
Yeah, Guts should be the side.
Okay. Okay. I'm at least happy that I made at least one of my choices
No.
you're happy with.
This
what are your,
is perfect, man.
he is perfect. I love him. The top three to me were I knew for sure the top three. Top 5, 2, but top 3 I wrote them down instantly who they were gonna be. I love Guts. But why do you like Guts?
Well,
And you can include some spoilers if you'd like to.
well, part of like his, I think his ideology is just really interesting. You know, the way he absorbs everything and he just keeps on moving forward all the time.
Yeah.
He never gets stuck in the past. I just think he's a very inspiring character.
I 100% agree. I think he might be the most inspiring character, I'd say, in anime, in manga, in history. I think he's insanely inspirational.
For sure.
What else do you like about him?
Well, maybe it's a bit of a kind of a spoiler, but the way he acts, you know, towards the later chapters and how he kind of warms up,
Yes.
I really like that journey.
Yeah,
I think it's very good.
I 100% agree. YK, maybe I might include you in a maybe future Berserk video. We'll see.
Not bad.
DD, how much have you read of Berserk?
I really don't know. I was taking a break at some point and I lost where I left off. I don't even remember.
What are your thoughts on Guts as the main character?
He's a badass who lifts like 200 pounds of a sword, like without any effort.
Man, I want to put Guts higher, but it's just so hard to put him over my top 2. I love him so much, though. But what else do you like about Guts?
All the stuff you said about him, like I don't know what to say about him because you guys did too well. Like his humanity, the way he wants to save a lot of people. I won't get into why, but you know what I mean.
In a lot of ways, he might be the most human character.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think not only does he have the darkest past of any character, but everything that happens. Berserk in general is very dark. If anyone's planning on reading it or has been reading it, Berserk's very dark. Probably the darkest series I've ever read. And what happens to Guts is almost traumatizing for anybody to read. You feel for Guts, and you feel also for the events surrounding him. And when you see it happen to him, it sort of breaks you. But Guts, with everything that's happened to him, where everything in his life, in a lot of ways, basically like screwed him over, and will continuously keep screwing him over for the rest of his life, he's still fighting, and he still keeps on going. And that's my favorite aspect of him, is everything that's happened to him. Like most people at that point just quit. There's just so much wrong and darkness going on in his life. But he's still going. He will not stop. He will keep fighting because he's going after a certain goal, which I will not spoil, and he wants to stop it. But his unwavering determinedness, or what is that a word? Determination. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad at words sometimes. But his determination is just insane. And I love that aspect of him. I love obviously his badassery. Just wielding that big ass sword is awesome. And every time they encounter him, is like, oh, he's wielding that big sword. There's no way he can wield that. Like, it's crazy. And he just slices like 5 guys with one swing. And they're all just like, oh, he's the black swordsman, run away or whatever.
Doesn't he have that, like, cursed armor or something? Or is that spoilers?
I don't know if I should say anything.
Okay.
But no, I won't say anything because you're gonna read it.
The other black swordsman should be number 2, actually.
No, he's the best black swordsman.
Kirito's number 1, bro. You already said it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Kirito is number 1. But, yeah, I love God. And also what YK alluded to also is something else I love, where his journey, his development. Because I think a lot of people may not, when they think of Berserk and think of Guts, they wouldn't think of him as someone that goes through a development change. They just think the first thing to think of is like, oh, he's just this badass guy. He goes around, he's a mercenary, he kills people. But he's very human, and his journey and his development with where he is, and his trust towards people and trust towards other members of his party that he goes on a journey with is really, really something that was just I really appreciate and loved with his character. YK, any more final thoughts on Guts?
Not really.
Okay.
Well, there's enough for an entire video on Guts.
Yeah,
So,
we could do it for certain. I could go so long on Guts for sure. But DD, any more thoughts on Guts? I'm not gonna ask Psycho since you haven't read it really yet.
Nope.
Okay. Then I think we can move on to number 2 on my list, which is Gintoki from Gintama.
Best character ever. MC.
He's close. He's close to the best ever. He's number 2 right now. But I do love Gintoki. YK or Psycho? Either of you guys seen or read Gintama?
I've seen a little bit of it.
Okay.
I saw like 2 episodes and dropped it.
Oh, wait. Did you watch the first 2 episodes? Like the very first 2?
Yeah.
You're supposed to skip those.
What do you mean skip?
What?
It's really weird. You skip the first 2 episodes of Gintama because they're sort of, how do I describe it? They're recap episodes, even though nothing's happened yet. It's basically going over what's about to happen with some things. But you skip them.
Oh.
Why?
Skip the first 2. I don't know what they did, but really Gintama starts on episode 3, and I would say also give it a shot. Like, don't drop it early on. It's a series where the beginning, like the first 20 episodes, they're introducing a lot of characters, because I think Gintama probably has the best cast of characters, I'd say. There's a lot of series that obviously have amazing casts. I'd probably say Gintama's number 1 for casts, but they're introducing a lot of characters all at once, and obviously they introduce some later, but they're introducing a lot at once, and they're introducing a lot of the running gags at once too. Because at the same time, it's a comedy series. It's a comedy action series mainly.
Yeah.
So throughout all the episodes, they're going to be doing a lot of references at you. A lot of references, a lot of running gags, a lot of jokes that you're supposed to be accustomed with when you get introduced with these characters.
Okay.
But enough about Gintama, because Gintama's amazing. But Gintoki is the main character of Gintama, and I absolutely love him. Dee, I want you to go into a little bit of Gintoki, since these 2 haven't seen it. And also you said he's your favorite character. So I really want you to give some thoughts on him.
How do I even start? I think he's like the perfect character in terms of MC, because he literally shows every single emotion in terms of relatable person compared to real life, and just all around very funny, very fun person to be with and watch. Yeah, that's it for now.
That's it? Okay. I'll get back to you in a sec then. I'll give some thoughts, because I do want you to give more. I know you said he's your favorite character in anime, and I love him. But there's another one that I like a little bit more. I'll get into in a sec. But I love Gintoki. He's very relatable, and I think, and he's just obviously very funny. He's one of the funniest characters in anime, I'd say, and obviously his interactions with every character is great. But he's also in a lot of ways selfless, even which is weird to say because if you watch the series, he's kind of selfish in terms of money, or he would appear that way. But at the same time, he's always willing to help and help other people. I also love his backstory, which you reveal later on, because that was always a big mystery when you're watching Gintama, is what is his backstory, and how he grew up, and how he grew into war, and with all those other characters was really cool, I'd say, to see. But I love Gintoki. I could go into it a little bit more, but I'll get into it a little more in a sec. I want you to talk a little bit, and I'll finish it, and we can go to number one.
Like for me, Gintama is like the funniest anime, in my personal opinion, and Gintoki is probably the biggest part of the reason why.
Oh, for sure.
He just does the most stupid stuff in a way that just doesn't drop the smile on your face.
Yeah.
But not just that, when it comes to serious moments as well, he just sacrifices himself for other people. He knows when to talk sweet to girls, stuff like that. just some small moments that makes him a great character.
Gintoki, in a lot of ways, is Kazuma, but has development, backstory, and more to his character. Even though I love Kazuma, but that's sort of how I see it.
So you're telling me to watch Gintama?
Everybody should watch Gintama. Spoilers, it was in my top 50 favorite anime. It was a lot higher on my list than... It was actually, spoilers again, it was the highest possible number on my list for anime.
What beat it, though?
What?
What beat it, though?
No, for favorite anime, it was number one.
Oh, okay.
But for MC, he's number 2. But I love Gintoki. Hilarious character. His interactions with every cast member in the whole Gintama cast is amazing. His relations to them, his interactions with them, his fights with them, his jokes that are just the running jokes of the series that he does with them. His breaking the fourth wall is also really funny. He's one of the characters that just breaks the fourth wall randomly, and I love it. Yeah, I love Gintama. I love Gintoki in particular, and he's such a troll character as well, and I love him. But yeah, he is number 2, and let's get into number 1. Because I saw it mentioned in the chat. A lot of people who know me know who my number 1 is. It is Lelouch from Code Geass.
So it's not Kirito.
It's not Kirito, I'm joking. And I saw in the chat a little comment by YK, which is, for anybody watching, because you won't be seeing the comments, YK says Lelouch not even top 30, so I have to hear from him first. So YK, why is Lelouch not even top 30 for you?
Listen, man.
I'm listening.
Good character and all.
Great character, but keep going.
But they're simply just 30 better characters.
You can even name one better character.
Yeah, sure. Guts.
No.
Miyamoto.
So, okay, wait, pause. So I haven't read the manga yet for Vinland Saga. I love Vinland Saga though. I am reading Vagabond right now, so I haven't finished it yet. So Musashi I'm still getting there with. But aside from naming other characters, why would you say these not even top 30 for you though? What are some aspects of him you don't like, or aspects that you do like?
Well, I didn't like how similar he felt to Light.
But he's better.
Didn't he come out before Light?
That's debatable.
Keep going.
He's kind of boring at times.
Boring.
Yeah, boring.
When was he ever boring?
Got triggered.
Like the first 5 episodes.
Oh, I was not bored in Cookie House during the first 5 episodes for sure. Alright, so you're basing this off of 5 episodes for Lelouch.
No, I watched it all.
Okay, so what else then? I gotta hear a little bit more. It triggers me.
I'm gonna as well.
Alright, if you want, I'll let you formulate some thoughts if you want.
Like,
I'll go to some...
I just didn't like him.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that deep, I just didn't like him that much.
Okay. I'll respect your opinion for now, I guess.
For now.
But for now, Psycho, what about you? What are your thoughts on Lelouch?
His outlook on humanity is just different. He wants... I guess... What are the right words? He sees them as, like, greedy. He doesn't really look... How can I word this? It's a very deep character. He has a lot of aspects to him that make him just... I can see how it's number 1 for you. But I do agree with YK that he is overhyped.
Oh my god.
I don't... Look, no. I'm not saying he's not a great character. I don't think it's bottom 30. I think he's still top 10, but like I do think he's a little overhyped.
Okay. I'll hear back from you in a second. DD, what about you? What are your thoughts on Lelouch?
One-eyed Gold. Oh no, that's someone else.
Huh?
I think he's a top 10 character as well. I don't see him as a top 5. Great character. Pretty overconfident. I like it. It's just that when he loses like something simple, he's like, oh, that's impossible. I never lose. That's a bit annoying about him.
Well, he's very confident.
Yeah.
So, I mean... But he learns from his losses as well. And learns from his mistakes.
Yeah, of course.
And so, similar to what Laika was saying about like Yagami, because Lelouch and Light, they have a lot of comparisons. They're very similar characters. They both sort of have god complexes in a lot of ways. But I like Lelouch a lot more, I'd say. Actually, I wouldn't say a lot because I still like Light a lot. But Light, in a lot of ways, his battle is just against L. He's battling against L, and then when he finally, when he becomes basically what he thinks is God, he's not really battling anybody. I mean, I guess he's sort of battling Nier, but that's not what he views as his challenge until later on. Lelouch is battling everybody. He's playing mind games with everybody in the series almost every time. And also comparing him to Light, Light's tool that he's using is a book where he can write down someone's name and they die. Whereas Lelouch's power to me, the power of Eos, is a lot more interesting in the series because I feel like you have to put in a lot more thought in where to use it and how to use it. And his power is you can basically tell one person one thing what to do, or tell that one person only one thing what to do. Otherwise, you can't tell them anything else. So you have the power of persuasion one time per person. And he uses that, obviously, very effectively. And he has so many moments that just shock me and surprise me. And also other moments that I'm disappointed by because he does some things that aren't necessarily heroic. Because he sort of borderlines the hero and villain in a lot of ways, but I think he's sort of anti-hero, but I love it. And I love his interactions and also his dynamic with Suzaku, because he's obviously keeping his identity of Zero, sort of like how Light's keeping the identity of Kira a secret. But Lelouch is the GOAT. Lelouch is playing everybody. his mind battles and how he fools everybody constantly is just amazing to watch. I love it. I love everything about his character. I love his cockiness. I love his revelations about some things. And I would say that I'd say I put him top 5 on my list until the ending. This is also what elevated him to number 1, which I can't spoil. For anybody that hasn't seen Code Geass, I think he probably has the best ending in all of anime. But what he does in the ending of Code Geass cemented him probably as the GOAT, say, of main characters with what he does. And I can't spoil that, but I want to hear a little bit more from you guys. YK, do you have any more thoughts on him? You don't even think he's not top 30? Or actually, what are your thoughts at least on the ending? What were your thoughts on the ending of Code Geass and what he does?
The ending of Code Geass?
No spoilers, though. Yes.
It was brilliant.
Okay. But that was all orchestrated also by Lelouch.
Yeah, but that doesn't make him better as a character.
I don't understand how that doesn't make him better as a character.
Wait, Psycho, you don't think, or you...
No, I don't understand how that doesn't make him a better character.
Yeah.
How does it make him a better character?
Because it was... I don't want to spoil exactly what happened.
I feel like YK trying to pull out...
His plan...
Dude, but like, we already knew that he was really smart.
But what ended up happening with the plan that he executed at the end, the ramifications, he did what he did of that. And I can't spoil exactly why, but he basically, he set himself up to be the villain of everybody. But in order to be heroic eventually at the end, for the greater good of the people. And it was because of that, of what he did. And I don't want to spoil exactly what happens, but I love Lelouch. I thought the ending for sure elevated. Psycho, what about more thoughts? Didi, this is just a debate we're discussing.
Didi, do you have any thoughts?
Oh yeah, for sure, Didi. What are more thoughts on Lelouch?
Sorry, my phone just vibrated.
You don't know what else to say?
Yeah.
Okay, what about the ending? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's good, but I don't see it as like the best ending in anime.
Okay, idiot.
I disagree.
I think it's one of the top few. Like, it's up there. I don't think it's the best, obviously, but I do think it's up there.
I'm fine with saying it's up there. To me, it's the best ending. But I think saying it's just good is a disgrace.
Yeah, no. It's not just good. I feel like since it was like one of the first series to like kind of make that twist, it's like cemented more in people's minds that, oh, that was amazing.
Yeah. Alright, well, does anyone have any final thoughts?
I think Lelouch is a good character. Screw YK.
Good character.
He's higher than top 30, bro.
He's higher,
Sure, top 25.
Oh, that's sad. Alright, well everybody, that is my list, and that is the end of the video. Thank you everybody for listening in and watching this video and hearing our thoughts on my top 15 favorite main characters in anime. This was certainly a blast. It had a lot of ups and downs, particularly some downs towards the end of the video. But in all, it was such a great video, great time. Thank you, DD, Psycho, and YK, all for joining me in this video and reacting to my list. So,
yup, no problem.
Kirito should have been one though.
I agree. Kirito should have been one, like you said.
Alright, well, Kirito was actually...
He's the honorable mention number 1.
He's number 22. He was an honorable mention that I missed, clearly. So,
oh, yeah.
Anyways, I'm Tiago with Attack on Tiago, and I hope you all have a nice day.